Good morning. I'm Catherine Gordon, and I am the Director of St. Margaret's Community Outreach. Today, right now, I am acting facilitator for this group. I ask for your sympathy and cooperation as we sort of muddle through this. Kim introduced the program this morning as a time for us to come together and act and respond to the issue of homelessness in our community. We have assembled a panel of, I think, experts, people who represent agencies and organizations who are already addressing homeless prevention. That is, they are conducting programs and offering services with the goal of homeless prevention. I'd like for you to take just a moment to sort of get in the room. It's been a long week and it's just Tuesday. It's been a long morning and it's just 10 o'clock. We've all got a lot going on. The weather is crazy. Our lives are crazier. So I'd like for you to just bear with me and participate in this little activity. I'm sure you've all been to showers and parties where they play stupid games. And the people who think they're really stupid are the people who don't participate in them. So just be stupid with me. What I want you to do is just get inside yourself, your space. There's plenty of room for us to have elbow space. I want you to not touch the person beside you. I want you to look at your pants, look at your legs, look at your skirt, look into your lap. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And just let the week disappear. Let the morning disappear. And let's put our energy and our thought and our intentions in the room. Let's leave our preconceived notions somewhere else. Let's just remember why we're here. We're all interested in addressing homelessness. We in this work group, in this room, are interested in preventing homelessness. I'd like for you to imagine that you're putting on a pair of glasses that allows you to read in a different way, to see in a different way. The lenses in these glasses are the lenses of homeless prevention. The things that we hear today in this room from these panelists are efforts, measures that are being taken already in our community to prevent homelessness. I'd like for you to try to draw a line from everything you hear to homeless prevention. Try to ask yourself, every activity, every program, every service that you hear about this morning, try to make the connection between that service and how it aids in the prevention of homelessness. It's a very deep, deep subject. I think that we will have a lot to work through and think about beyond today. But I ask you to use your homeless prevention lenses as we're in here today. Thank you. I'd like to start with the HUD definition of homelessness, just for the point of clarity. As you know, the government tends to be a little wordy, so I couldn't really memorize the definition. I'm going to read it to you. The final rule, current final rule, for the definition of homelessness falls into 4 categories according to Housing and Urban Development. The categories are as follows. Number 1, Individuals and families who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, and includes a subset for an individual who resided in an emergency shelter or a place not meant for human habitation and who is exiting an institution where he or she temporarily resided. Number 2, individuals and families who will imminently lose their primary nighttime residence. Number 3, unaccompanied youth and families with children and youth who are defined as homeless under other federal statutes who do not otherwise qualify as homeless under this definition. And 4, individuals and families who are fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or other dangerous or life-threatening conditions that relate to violence against the individual or family member. That's our government's definition of homelessness. So, broad is an understatement. The references that Kim made to people who are staying with family members or staying in an extended stay, hotel, motel, lodge, whatever, an automobile, a campground, a tent. Homeless, the definition of homeless is very broad. So keep that sort of as a backdrop. And we're going to go ahead and start with our panel. Each of the panelists will start with an introduction of themselves and the organization that they represent. If you've had a chance to get literature from that organization on the table outside, you might pull it to the forefront. You can make notes on it, whatever. The panelists will have 5 to 7 minutes to describe the programs and services that their organization conducts, particularly those aimed at homeless prevention. Okay? The last thing that the panelists are invited to do is to share a need or a gap where you all may plug in. It may be a real specific need, a technical need, like I need 25 volunteers on the last Thursday of every month from 12 to 5. I need 24 cases of diapers the first Monday of every month. I need 6 dozen pairs of socks. Or it may be a more general, a more strategic sort of need, a think tank need. We need more effective delivery of our services. We need to know how to better identify recipients of our services. So anyway, the panel, each of the panelists will have the opportunity to share a need. So you, as work group members, will have the opportunity to select a need where you can plug in, if you so choose. No pressure, we're not going to make you. But it may just be that you hear something that you say, hey, I can do that. Or you may want to be involved in some further conversation and strategy. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and get started with our panelists. We will do, we'll do 4, and then we'll stand up and take a stretch break, just so everybody can continue to pay attention. You know where the restrooms are. Please feel free to come and go. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for caring. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eddie Holz. Eddie is representing Bowdon Area United Christian Ministries. So if you want to pull that information to the front of your staff. Yes, sir.
Will there be questions with each person or at the end?
At the end. The Q&A will do at the end, yes. In the interest of giving everybody floor time.
Thank you. My name is Eddie Holz. I'm with Bowdon Area United Christian Ministries. We are a 501c3 that is recognized as an association of churches. We are supported by 13 separate churches in the Bowdon community. The service and goal of Bowdon Area United Christian Ministries is to minister and provide single point of contact services for families in poverty in the Bowdon school attendance area. So we do limit who we do serve. But also, if you attend one of our supporting churches, and that supporting church refers you, it doesn't matter where you live. So that's how we take referrals and handle that. You've got a brochure we fixed for you that gives you briefly what we do, household assistance is what is generally considered homeless prevention in the way of the word that we use. And we take applications, and we last year paid electric bills for 57 families, water bills for 9 families, gas bills for 5 families, rent for 19 families, and then in addition to that, we also provided food to 78 families and clothing to 16 families. Our service center, the information is there in the brochure, is open 4 days a week. Families do come in and they make application. We have a volunteer who is there every day who has made that commitment to take applications. We have other volunteers that use the Community Foundation's resource network, and if you're not a member of that, you don't know about the Community Foundation's West Georgia Resource Network, please, please do not leave without knowing about that and being willing to use that. Because we use that. If you come in and ask for help from Bowdon Area United Christian Ministries, we put your information into that software. And that's such a great job to eliminate duplication, but it only works if everyone would make a commitment to use it. So please, I wanted to encourage that. That's one of the Community Foundation has done many, many great things, but in the way of providing a network of communication between nonprofits that serve families in need, it's indispensable. So please consider that. I've not mentioned that in the brochure, but we do use that, and that network allows us to, when someone comes in and says, I need help, we can then see, well, wait a minute, the people at Hearts helped you 7 times in the last 3 months. And you've now come over here and you actually do still live in Alabama, and it becomes very evident. So that, please do, if you're not familiar with that, get familiar with it, because it's also that other resource that anyone can use to go online. And I keep telling the people at the church, my church, this, that you can sit at home and someone says, well, gosh, I have this need. You can look on the West Georgia Resource Network and it helps you solve that need. So please consider being informed about that. Bowdon Area United Christian Ministries does have 14 supporting churches. They're active both as volunteers as well as provide financial resources for the operation of the service center and the giving of and the money. She almost needs a clock. Let me know how I'm doing. I'm looking at my watch. I serve as the volunteer. We have no paid staff. We're all volunteers. I'm the volunteer bookkeeper, and I write the checks once a week. I don't approve any. We keep a very distinct separation between who signs the checks and who can approve people for payment. We're big fans of that. I asked the ladies before I came, I said, what lands people asking for help at Bowdon Area United Christian Ministries? Without hesitation, her comment was job loss. Job loss lands them there. And so that remains an issue. We do have a small computer lab that has internet connections to help people apply for jobs online, as well as we're big fans of what Goodwill has been doing and make a lot of referrals up there to the Goodwill program as well as Department of Labor. Job loss gets you in the door. Something that keeps you in the door in our community, and this is my greatest need. We know poverty in our community relates directly to young girls having 2 children before the age of 20. That's the face of poverty in the Bowdon community. If you have those 2 children before the age of 20 and no father in the home, welcome to poverty for pretty much the rest of your life, because we see these same people bring their children and their grandchildren in. We've been doing this. We're now in our 12th year of operation. So we've got a data core of more than 1,000 separate points of people that we've worked with, and that makes a difference. The other thing that we have that's a plus for us that I want to encourage is we're community-based. I think we need to, I really think the fact that the people that work at the service center go to the churches, they're in the community. They live in the community. They know the people in the community. Many of the volunteers are former teachers, and we know or taught your mother, your sister, your brother, aunt, or uncle. And that makes a difference when it comes in. We know, well, this is certainly a need. This is certainly how this works. And in conclusion, I'd like to note, too, that we analyzed our data and looked at 1,000 separate points of operation, and 15% of our people are recidivistic. We send them more than twice a year. That'd be 65%, 75, 85% of our people come once or twice in a 5-year span and we never see again. So the myth that we're seeing the same people over and over is a lie that we would like to encourage people to quit saying. So generally, it works, by the way. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Charles Griffin. I'm the director of the Carrollton Housing Authority. I appreciate the opportunity to come speak to this group this morning. Homeless prevention is a topic that we work with and around directly or indirectly at the Housing Authority every day. How we do that in just 5 minutes is going to be my challenge. But here goes. In broad categories, we have various housing programs that address the issue of homeless prevention. And then we have our social service programs. It's ultimately my job to make sure all these programs are working together. But to run through the list real quick, in terms of housing, we do that in many ways. The first of which is our public housing apartments. These are the apartments that a lot of you probably drive past every day. We have roughly 230 public housing apartments stretched across 5 developments in the city. We also have a small Section 8 program that consists of about 150 families or 150 vouchers. The Housing Authority also has a private housing component that consists of 50 apartments that are either duplexes or single-family detached homes. These are offered at below market rate amounts. And we also have a program that's called Shelter Plus Care, which is a newer program that we operate from the Housing Authority. In fact, one of the speakers this morning, Robert, is a participant of the Shelter Plus Care program. It is unique in that it is a partnership in the community between the Housing Authority and the city and the mental health industry in Carroll County, where we, the Housing Authority, through a HUD program we manage, provide rental assistance to individuals that are bona fide homeless and also have a documented case of mental illness. So we provide the rent, and the mental health industry provides mental health services. That's Shelter Plus Care. In terms of social services, we have also 3 or 4 social services that, in just a couple of words, are aimed at building self-sufficiency for our participants in our housing programs. That is, transitioning individuals from government rental assistance into a more private setting and more self-sufficiency. We do that in a handful of ways. First of which are our family self-sufficiency programs. We have 2 of those. One is for our public housing tenants and the other is for our Section 8 tenants. And essentially how this program operates is it's a case working process where we sit down with our tenants and we help our tenants identify goals and objectives. They could be things that you and I take for granted, such as a GED, further education, opening up a checking account, repairing their credit, writing a resume. This is a lot of what our FSS programs do for our participants in our housing programs. We also have a couple of programs that are focused on our children. I think this is probably the more important or the best opportunity we have at Housing Authority to make a long-term impact in the community. The first of which is our youth service program. I see Maria in the audience. She's our coordinator of this program. And basically what this program does, how it operates, is we work with troubled youth in the community. And these are generally teenagers. And we help these youth find part-time work. And along the way, we provide job skills training. We partner with private companies throughout the city and throughout the county. And we pay the salary for these individuals to work with these organizations. So it's a great program we've had for several years now. We also have a program that's aimed at maybe some of our younger youth. That we call our abstinence education program. This is primarily for our public housing tenants. And it's essentially an after-school program where it gives our mothers and fathers an opportunity to work till 5 or work till 6 and have somewhere for their children to be watched. And it's all wrapped up with a theme of no sex before marriage and teaching self-respect. So in a nutshell, we have 4 or 5 housing programs and 4 or 5 social service programs that work hand in hand to help prevent or to address the issue of homeless prevention. In terms of the need, for my last minute, emergency assistance, which I know is another category for today, but emergency assistance is probably our largest need. It's the young mothers that have got 2 children that have been living out of their car for the last 3 days that show up at our front door. Sometimes we have funding that can help with that, sometimes we don't. So in terms of what we need or how we could do our job better, having some sort of organization or some sort of consistent funding stream to address those issues is probably the biggest area of improvement that we're looking at. Okay. Thank you very much.
My name is Sue McGukin, and I'm with Open Hands United Christian Ministries. We opened our doors in 2011, September of 2011. We based Open Hands loosely on the Bowdon United Christian Ministries, who had been doing a wonderful job in that area for many years. We have 15 churches who are partnering currently with us. We primarily, right now, are supplying food and reading glasses, diapers, wipes, and then we have financial assistance as well. We're open 2 days a week, 2 hours a day, and then we're open twice a month for financial. We do see many homeless come through, many, in many different situations, and we try very hard to have things for them that we have can openers. We try to have things that are not heavy cans, because if you're walking or riding a bike, you cannot take 14 sacks of food that are all canned goods. So we try very hard to be able to meet their needs specifically when we see that. The financial assistance obviously is towards that end of helping them not have to become homeless, because it's primarily to help with utilities, getting them caught up with rent and things like that. We cannot help if they have an $800 utility bill that they're behind on, or they're behind $1,000 a month on their rent. But if they can work with us and come up with the rest, then we do that on a regular basis. To give you an idea of the food and that we are giving away now, last month, in addition to what we buy, we purchase at Open Hands, we picked up over 15,000 pounds of food from the Atlanta Food Bank, and that will be gone in 1 month. So we are seeing more and more people coming through. Loss of jobs seems to be the biggest problem with most people, and food is not going to keep them from being homeless, but we also spend a lot of time, our interviewers are trained very well to find out what those needs are, and then we, using all of the different resources available in this community and getting them in touch with who else might be able to help them. Goodwill is an awesome, they have a career center now, and so we send them to the career center, and if we know of companies in the area that are hiring, to give them that information specifically when they need to go and interview, giving them help with GED information and scholarshiping that if necessary. So we even though we're primarily food and financial based, we spend a lot of time trying to plug people in to the different resources where they can help themselves and find more permanent solutions. We see an average, if someone's here from Open Hands that does financial, but I think we see, okay, how many do we, Angie, I'm sorry, I do not have that figure quickly, how many do we normally see in a month for financial assistance?
We average about 25.
About 25, and most of the time, most of those are helped.
Yes.
The majority of them are helped. We are all volunteer based, and we have a board of directors, but everyone who's there is volunteer. That's okay. What I would want to say to you is that volunteers are greatly needed. We would love to add another day. We wanted to add a Saturday. We're open on a Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. We'd love to add a Saturday because some people can't come in, but we have to have more volunteers. So that is definitely a need that we have. talking about needs that we see so many people come through who are homeless, and they're couples. Let me tell you real quickly about a young couple. She was 8 months pregnant, living out of their car, and he was so concerned for her. He didn't want her to be living in the car. And we spent about 2 hours talking with the emergency shelter people and talking with the men's shelter, and got them both accepted to come for that night into the shelter. And then they didn't go because they didn't want to be separated. And we see that time and time again, that families will choose to live in their car or, out in the woods rather than be separated. And so as a need that I see at Open Hands, that it comes through our doors all the time, is a place where people can go together, where a family can go, where a couple can go and find that immediate relief, if they indeed are homeless. But we can use you, we can use your funding, we can use your volunteer, and we would love to have you, and it's a wonderful ministry. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Denise Kuzy. I'm the homeless liaison with Carroll County Schools. I've been the homeless liaison with Carroll County Schools for about 15 years. I'm also a school social worker. That's primarily what my job is school social work. So as a school social worker, I do a lot of things to try to prevent homelessness. Most of that revolves around referring families to these other agencies that are sitting here at the table, because we don't have those kinds of funds at the school system to prevent homelessness. We can't pay their rent, for instance, or their utility bills. So we work hard to find agencies that have the funds to do that kind of thing. But I'm the homeless liaison, which means I write a grant for each school year to work with kids who do find themselves in homeless situations. And what we do with that grant money, most of that money, it's not spent on salaries, it's spent to get those kids direct services. So we try to keep them in their school of origin, which is the school they lived in when they were permanently housed. So if they have to move into a short stay hotel, or if they have to move in with another relative, then we can keep them from having to change schools on top of losing their home and their possessions when they have to make that move. So that's primarily what I do as the homeless liaison, is keep them in their school. And then we can pay for things that are school related, field trips and school supplies, those kinds of things. So anything that's school related. We have seniors graduating, caps and gowns, anything related to their education we can pay for with those grant funds. So that's what we do. But those are for the kids who are already homeless. And we talked about it a little bit earlier in the other session, families living doubled up. That's what most of our families in Carroll County Schools who are homeless will fall under that part of the definition, doubled up. And that may not sound homeless to some of you guys, but I make home visits, I go to their homes. And a lot of times what that means for these kids are they're on the sofa. They're all in, their whole family's in one room in that house. So it's not like they move into a house with another family and they have free reign. It's not like it's their house too. They are staying there, which keeps them off the street, and that's a great thing, but they don't have their own space in that house. They have a small space to share with everybody in their family. And a lot of times the food in that house it's not their food. Kids will tell me they don't get to eat supper with the family that they're staying with, because the family they're staying with can't, not that they don't want to, it's just they can't afford it. So they have to budget and feed their kids, and they'll let another family stay with them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're all having dinner together and we're living as one family and one happy family in this house. It's just they're letting them stay there so that they're not on the street. And a lot of our families also, we talked about, we don't see the tents. I'm here to tell you, a lot of our families are in tents in Carroll County, and they live in tents in the backyards of their sister's house or their brother-in-law's house, and they live in shelters temporary shelters, and they run an electric cord from that shelter, like a storage unit. When I say a shelter, it's like a storage unit in the backyard, from the storage unit to the house, and that's where they stay. So we do have families who are living in tents, just they're not under a bridge like in Atlanta, but they are in tents, and they are in shelters, storage units. I've had families living in storage units. So we do have a lot of that here in Carroll County. And the most I can do for them at school is refer them to these other agencies and hope that they have some funds available, and keep them in their school of origin, which helps them stay with their friends and makes it a little easier on them in that way. So how the need that I have, if I were going to express a need from Carroll County Schools, it would be to support these other agencies, Open Hands, Bowdon area Ministries, because that's where I have to send these kids who are living in tents in the backyard. Or I have 2 families right now who are living in barns, and they're allowed to come into the main house to take a shower, but there's not room in the main house for them to stay there. So that kind of thing. So if you want to help with these students who are homeless, the best way is to help Bowdon area Ministries, Open Hands, these other ministries that can provide those rent, utility type funds.
Thank you. You'll set it on 5 again. If you guys want to take 5, stand up, move around. If you need to take your jacket off, if you need to put your jacket on, if you're dying to check your email, if you got to text somebody right quick, if your kids are home because they're not in school, you check on them. 5 minutes.
Well, that's a good idea.
head back to your seats, we'll resume.
Yeah. I've got a group. Oh, right. Well, I just want to say hello then. Hi. Angie Chester, Joanna Scherner.
It's good to meet you.
Good to see you. Oh, I wanted to say.
Good morning. I'm Becky Ragsdale. I'm from St. Vincent de Paul, which is associated with the Catholic Church out on Temple Road. Burial place of Susan Hayward, Chalkley. Not me, not yet. St. Vincent handles utilities, rent, food. We have a backpack program. Right now it's involved with the Temple Elementary School. For those of you that are not familiar with backpack, they send snacks, healthy snacks and drinks that go home for the weekends for children that wouldn't have food otherwise. And yes, their big brother might try to beat them out of a cereal bar, but they, for the most part, I think the children get what they're supposed to have. We get these references through school, through Temple Elementary School. We do go do the temporary housing. It's unbelievable, the people that come there that have nowhere to go. And personally, my husband and I picked up a couple of times.